I'm gonna pass it on to Felipe for the land acknowledgement.
Is land acknowledgement.
Those of us that are continuing our oral history are blessed. What we shared, that was told from way back. Many, many years ago, my great uncle asked my grandfather, "How long have we been here?" He relayed a story about carrying a way of life as needed the Blackfoot speaking people. The prairie region was dominated by the prairie grizzly bear. The prairie grizzly bear said, "You have to make treaty with everything in this prairie land. The animals, the birds, the fish, the water, the hills, the rocks. They all live in beings." He said, "I will move to the southern region." And so they became Saukishitapi, the people of the plains, of the open country.
We were part of the ecosystem. We were not masters of it. The buffalo and the moose and the elk and the antelope and the deer and the grass and the trees were more than us.
Well, we were raised to believe that everything has a spirit, and that everything around us is alive and has a purpose.
We praise Creator, giver of life. We give thanks to Mother Earth.
You know, after we grow up from our biological mothers, the earth becomes our caregiver. Everything that we need is there.
And we're supposed to honor the Creator with all our life. And we're supposed to look after the gift of the land that He gave us to live on.
For us, the land tells us the story. I mean, it's just story after story. Oh, this happened here, this happened here, this happened over here.
The story is not the old man standing with his bow and his elbows on this side.
That was how our warriors pictured the landscape.
All the tributaries run into the bow. It's the mother of all water that flows through. People came there. They asked, "What's the name of this river?" They said, "We cut our bow from the choke cherry trees. They're strong and powerful. We named this river the Bow." Namakta.
I was born and raised in a road allowance, a strip of land that the farmers didn't want and the government didn't have no use for. Métis were just out on their own. We didn't belong anywhere. In Treaty 7 territory, I'm accepted, I'm something, and I'm with my people.
Because you're in the territory of your ancestors, no, this is home. It's something that we pass on to our children and to our grandchildren.
This land has to be acknowledged. The people that took care of this land for a long time have to be acknowledged. You know, at least find the truth about us.
I'm a residential school survivor. But it's up to me to have courage and go back and learn the ways of my people. Mm-hmm. The elders will say, I pray that the young people will not forget the Creator. The true acknowledgement of the land every day.
We honor our ancestors by acknowledging Treaty 7 territory. We acknowledge the Treaty 7 nations, the Piikani First Nation, the Siksika First Nation, the Gana First Nation, the Stony Nakota First Nations, and the Tsuut'ina First Nation. We acknowledge the ancestral territory of the Siksikaitsitapi, the Blackfoot Confederacy, and the home of Métis Region number 3.
Thank you, Felipe. This is a little bit longer than normally we do lands acknowledgements, but because we have people from other areas, I wanted just to introduce the concept on and the behind the scenes on why we are acknowledging the land that we live on today. Julia, the floor is yours. I'm gonna put my camera off if you need me. I'm gonna be moderating, so everyone, if you put your comments in the chat, then I will be able to help Julia moderate the meeting, okay?
Yeah, thank you, Monica, and thank you for everyone for coming. And just, this wasn't the original first slide of my presentation, but just after the land acknowledgement that you shared now with us, I must say this is what came up to my mind, and this is what I want to share with us probably. What is for me stress management and how I approach the topic. And for me, it's mostly about not just, I wouldn't say that it's about finding the balance in the moments of a peace, but it's mostly about the found ourselves ability to ground ourselves while everything around us is just in chaos. So this is like it's supposed to be the last slide of the presentation, but I find it very relevant to us for now. Okay, so let's start. And I just, Monica, just a little bit technical. I can see myself on a screen, and it's probably will be helpful for me also to see your face and the face of myself. So I'm not sure.
We can see you perfectly.
Okay, wonderful. So let's just go. So thank you for everyone for coming, and this is our actually format, as Monica said. We will do it in any interactive way. So please prepare also paper and piece of paper and pen if you need to write something during a presentation. Also use the chat for questions, for sharings and insights. I hope you will have some during the presentation. And at the end, we also have a question. So everything you want to ask to share, please also put in a chat. So we will go through the topic of the stress and everything that I found may be relevant to that and how we actually can cope with the stress in our lives. So if it's okay, just in order to begin, probably, you know what, yeah, let's still make it. I want to just to understand the general atmosphere in a group, and please, if you can use a chat and write just a number. It's 1, 2, or 3 of the sentence that you find it's most relevant for you for that period of time. So if you find yourself that you came today to that workshop just as in general interest regarding the topic, nothing personal, nothing that may relate to you, just put the 1. If you find that actually this topic is very relevant to you and you're looking for the tools, specific tools that you can apply in your life, so please put a 2. And if you find that you already it is relevant to you, but you have a lot of tools, or probably not a lot, but you have tools, and you're struggling to apply them in your life. So please put 3 in a chat, so it just will help me to understand the general atmosphere. And I will move forward with our presentation. So my first question for you is, what do you think, how can you, if you can imagine the world without the stress, so how it can look like? And just kind of a strange question, but probably, you know, we can take a look. And once we're speaking about the stress, actually, it's a lot of different variation of how can stress be feeling around us. And if you can see this green line, and even it have a name of adaptive stress, which I would say even maybe very kind of necessary stress in our life. Probably you can agree with me, probably not, but it's kind of small levels of stress for the short period of times, which actually can help us to get out of our comfort zone, probably to find some creative solutions, some ideas, probably to grow with ourself, our personal self. Yeah. So if you have this experience in your life, please put it in a chat just in order to kind of acknowledge also some parts of this adaptive stress in our life. So if you have some experience that you find yourself that you like, I have it here, sorry, that you find yourself grew up from that, or probably you're proud of how you go through. I'm not speaking about very challenging situations. That's a couple small levels of stress where you actually find that it was helpful for you. So please put it in a chat for us. And another levels of stress when it goes a little bit higher and for a longer period of time, probably without a breaks in between. So this is still kind of tolerable stress we are speaking about. Once we can tolerate, but in a one way. Once we are using, I don't know if you can see my mouse when I show in a presentation. So just we really can use our buffers or tools during these periods of stress, so we can manage it in a way which is very important, not to get to the chronic stress. So actually today's presentation, we will take a look a lot on the buffers, on the tools, because actually this is most time of our lives probably what we are interested to deal with, to cope with, in order not to get to the chronic stress and in order not to get to the burnout period where we actually don't want to get in. I will later to show you what the difference between the tolerable stress and the burnout. It's totally feels different to us. Yeah. Okay, so just one more visualization of stress, how it may felt. So as I said, through the adaptive stress, probably we even can find ourselves growing up, having some personal positive experience for ourselves, having some creative ideas, getting out of our comfort zone. During the tolerable stress, we really need to apply our tools, our buffers, in order to go and not to fall into the burnout period. Because burnout period, as you can see it in the picture, it's not only about getting stressful. It's mostly about really probably losing motivation in our life, losing the answer for the question why I'm doing what I'm doing, why am I here. I have no motivation, I have no idea. It's totally really hard period of a time. So we really want to use our tools here. And one more, just like, let's just one more explanation how this symptoms may felt to us when we experience stress. So it may felt on an emotional level, it may felt on a physical level, also on a behavioral level, which are different levels, but still we can feel sometimes just on one level, sometimes on both of them. And as I already said, just to having this acknowledgement for the adaptive stress in our lives. So I hope you put some experience from your real life, just to acknowledge this period of like adaptive stress, as I said. And now most of our presentation actually will be dedicated to these times in our life when we're starting to experience stress for a little bit longer period, with probably without breaks in between or with breaks, but it's a shorter breaks and the levels of the stress go higher and higher. So in order, as I said, in order not to get to the burnout period, we really want to start to apply our buffers here. Buffers or tools is the same one. And just before we are going to the buffers, I also thought that it's I find it's very important to remind to us the topic of internal versus external factors that may impact us and create stress in our lives. And why I think it's important. While with external factors, mostly we don't have a control. We really cannot control everything that came to our life, especially when it's external. But we really can control some internal factors. And what I'm speaking about, so I just this kind of idea that came to my mind to visualize it as some soup that we may cook in our life, and it's very depend on the ingredients, our personal ingredients that we're putting in to the soup into the soup. Yeah. So as you probably see here, kind of things that I would say they already have some predisposition for even small external stressors that will come to will come to our life to make them more higher. So just imagine for yourself, people, if you find actually what is important thing that I would say, that if you find yourself that one of these maybe apply for you as a perfectionism, probably self-criticism, fear of failure, actually I can find some of them also may apply for myself during different time of my life. Yeah, probably people pleasing, overcommitment. They also maybe relate to the people pleasing or to the perfectionism, lack of personal boundaries, excessive need of control, which may also lead to the overcommitment, focusing on a probably the worst scenarios. So yeah, probably if you may recognize some of them, the good thing about all those things is actually we do have a control over them. And with the help of a personal work, we really can make our ingredients like more adaptive, I would say, and more resilient in order to cope with the stress period. So this was just a small piece that I thought it's maybe very important also to put focus on not only on external stress factors but also on internal. And now we will move actually forward, and we will dedicate most of our presentation to the buffers, or other words to the tools that can help us during the challenging period of our lives. So I'm just putting timer for myself. I'm sorry, just a second. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm asking from you now to do, we will take probably 2 minutes for that exercise. And what I'm asking for you to do, to think about, from your real experience in your life, to think about one challenging period in your life. It's maybe from the recent examples. It can be from far long time ago. It doesn't matter. But please think about something that also felt for you. Finally, it was a kind of positive outcome there. And write down. You can write down. You can put it in. Probably write down, or probably use a chat. It's up to you. Write down all the things that you think actually what and who helped you there. And the most important, what I want you to answer is a third question. It's actually, what did you do there during that period of time in order to overcome the challenges? And we will take 1 minute for that. I know this is not enough time, but just to give you time a little bit to organize your mind with some examples. So I will wait for 1 minute. So I will not speak. Probably, I don't know if we can put a music, if it's a good idea, but probably we still need a slide here. So let's just wait 1 minute. And if you have a question, please put it in the chat and I will take a look. Now I have the time to take a look on the chat. Oops, sorry. Okay, so I'm not sure if you still can see my presentation. Monica, can you update me, please?
We can. We just can't see it full screen, but we can.
You can?
We can, but it's not full screen.
Okay, wonderful. So I just will return to the full screen. Okay, wonderful. So do we have something in chat? Not in chat, okay, let's move forward. Okay, so the next thing I will ask from you to do, it's a little bit probably strange but I hope you will have an idea why we're doing what we're doing now. And what I'm asking you to do is just to think about one more time about the challenging period in your life, and to think about one metaphor that can explain or can show the way, your way of dealing, of coping with challenges. Please, please be aware, I'm not asking you for metaphor for the challenges. I'm asking for metaphor of how you are dealing with the challenges, okay? And if this couple of just ideas, probably if you don't have, so probably you can use some pictures from here. So if you have some idea, you can use one of them or just bring something from your mind. It doesn't matter. Okay, so now after asking you to do all of those things, I want to introduce in front of you some model that actually will help us just to recognize different styles, different coping styles when we go through the challenging period of our lives. And this model actually can everything okay?
Everything okay. Lots
Yeah.
of people were answering to the previous question with
Okay.
with the
slide,
the picture 11 that you had in the slide.
I'm just for the second, I just want to reshare the slides. I don't know why I can't see myself, and I do want to see people. Oh, no, it's wonderful. Okay. So this model, we will go later to all the your important sharings that you put in a chat. After I will introduce you the model, and probably you will find actually how this model actually answer to your coping styles, and you may recognize some coping styles that you still don't use, and you probably want to expand your styles, and you can use other one. So we are speaking about 6 different styles. And this is just the slide that just shows us, it's a little bit messy slide. Please, I will go slowly through all these different styles with your help, with the help of your examples in the chat. So these are 6 different styles, and let's start from the right because it's a little bit easier to understand. So let's start from the physical one, or everything actually that relate to our bodies. What does it mean? So people who probably will rely or prefer to rely on that kind of styles to cope with stresses, they may find themselves to use a lot of body activities, and please be aware, not in order to to maintain probably, I don't know, is their healthy body, but also to maintain their healthy, I would say, as a mental health, yeah? So we actually can process our emotions or sensations without speaking them, without doing something necessary, just with the help of activities that will help us to take out and recharge these emotional states out of us. And it can be done in a different in different ways, as you can see, by running, walking, yoga, boxing, just doing something. If it's like during the just work, like sorry, I just lost my word. If it's during a work day and you can take a walk, so probably you just can have for yourself something to do, and you don't need to think about. Just a doing process help us to recharge some energy. Okay, another one, a little bit opposite, I would say, and it's actually cognitive style. And people who will prefer to rely on that cognitive style, so they will prefer to cope with the stress with the help of their logics, with the help of their cognitions. And please, one more time, be aware of the difference. I'm not speaking now about using our cognition in order to solve a problem in a job, in order to solve a task. We also need to apply the recognition, but I'm now speaking about the cognition once we cannot solve a task. So what can we do with all the stressful energies that we have? So probably we can try to analyze, not in order to solve a problem one more time, in order to just to organize to us our thoughts. Because through the stressful period, the stress will impact us not only on a body level, but also on a cognitive level. So we can organize also thoughts, trying to analyze, trying to reflect on ourselves, trying to collect some information one more time, not in order to solve a topic, not in order to solve a task, but in order to deal with our sense of stress. Okay, the social one. Social one, it's actually people who will really find it helpful for themselves to rely on interactions with other people. And it can be confusing because sometimes during the war in our jobs, we do need to meet people in order to have some probably conversations that related to the job. We do have to go probably for some meetings to have some social parts, and not for everyone. And it's like, please, I ask you to distinguish between the once we are doing it in order to just as a part of our job or just as a part of requirement, and once we are doing it as a part because it's really, we find it rechargeable for us. We find it something that we can process our stress, and it can be done with also outside of the work, as a hobbies, as a different communities, as a group of people that we can rely. And it doesn't mean that we need to share with them something that we go through. It's just to be with the people. It's just to be and to feel ourselves. It can be also just one person that we spend time with. During the work day, it can be done with different small talks, probably to find some peers that we really feel that we can share. And one more time, it's not necessary to share with them everything that we go now through. It's not necessary to share very personal information. It's just to have a cup of tea with them, probably, or coffee, or just small conversation, even about the sport. It still can be done. Sometimes we will done it just as a part of our job, probably some kind of expectation. But some people also will find this rechargeable for them, something as a kind of coping strategy for them in order to process the stress. I hope it was understandable, and I'm really waiting for your examples in the chat, because we will go through them, and we will find what really work for you in your real life. And also other people, you can use examples of each other, because some of us are really good on relying on our bodies. Some of us are really good on relying on our cognition. Some of us are really good on relying on our social interactions, one more time, as a rechargeable moments. So it's good to share with each other our examples, real examples. Imagination, okay, the ones that I really like, and actually imagination, it's a kind of tool that help us to disconnect ourselves in a healthy way. I mean, to disconnect ourselves from the reality. It may be done for a short period of time. So it can be done for 1 hour when we have a hobby after work, as a creativity, as a art, as a music, but it also can be done during the work day for a couple of minutes by listening to the music, by probably having some small visualization of something. We will go later with how we can do the helpful visualization. But it can be done with visualizations, probably to read some piece of something that's rechargeable for us, or to write down something that came up to our mind. And this is actually kind of Iceland that we can create for ourselves in order to disconnect ourselves a little bit for a short period of time and a healthy way from the reality, which is really healthy, because if we will not do it, so it can help, it just can like happen to us in less healthy way, when we will need to disconnect ourselves, but in an unhealthy way, which we don't want to do. Emotions. So it's all about just to share emotions with others, or probably with ourselves, by writing down what I'm feeling now, by crying, not only by saying but also processing them, by crying, louching, just having some fun. Even when we louch, we still can process the stress, even though it's it's maybe confusing, because if I'm louching, probably I'm happy. It's not necessary. Sometimes we can process our stressful sensations by louching, by doing something also funny. It still may help us to process the stress. And the last one is about the beliefs. Actually, it's really our values, it's taking me back to the land acknowledgement that was today at the beginning of the session. And one sentence that catch my ear, it was everything has its reason, and this sentence, actually, for me, I can find this sentence for me as rechargeable, as something that may help me to cope with some challenges in my life. But this is what worked for me. Probably you also have your own values, your own beliefs that may help you to go through the challenging period in your lives, and you really can rely on them. So yeah, already, as I said, please put your personal experience in a chat, and we will probably in 10 minutes we will go to the chat and really check all your tools from your real life. That I think it's most important. It's not only what I'm sharing with you. I'm just showing you a model that may help us just in order to recognize what different styles can we use, what styles we're not using, and probably we can use, and we can include them also in our life. So yes, as I said, just to be aware of difference when we're using the logic as a solving problems versus using the logic in order to regulate ourselves, in order to regulate all the information that coming up to us. And the same with probably with bad activities, the same with the social activities. Okay, and now I just want to share with you a couple of additional tools that you may find helpful for you during the period that you probably have a lot of thoughts, and you may find that the thoughts already kind of controlling you. They're coming not at the right moments. You probably find yourself that the thoughts starting to be intrusive. And what can we do? There's a couple of ideas you can try. Probably it may work, it may not. It's very depend on us, on our personalities. Probably for some of you it will work. So the first one is kind of have a room for all of the concerns techniques, and it's not something I'm sure you already heard about it. It's just every time some intrusive thoughts coming to our mind and trying to kind of control us, and we trying to get them out of us. So the good way to getting out the thoughts is just to put them down and write them down on a paper. So once you will have probably one big, you have some no, you can have one place where you put all of your thoughts together. So you will also can be sure that those thoughts will not, you will not lose them. Probably some of them are important for you, but you just find that at that moment they are like, it's not a good moment to think about them. So you can put in a good place where you will keep them and be sure and be that they are safe there, let's say. Yeah. So another one, it's a limited time technique. What does it mean? It means that I may say for myself, okay, I do see myself that during a day I have a lot of intrusive thoughts, and I can work like that because I also need to do another task, not only to think about all this intrusive thoughts that may bring me stress. So I will have an agreement between myself and myself, and I may say for myself, okay, so probably from 11 until 12, it's up to you. You decide what time do you want to take. But I may say, okay, from 11 up to 12 p.m., it's a good time for me for 1 hour. I want to dedicate 1 hour from in my day when I will like really take a time and start to everything that I will do there, it's only think about those intrusive thoughts. And that means that every time the thought during, if it's not 11, between 11 and 12, the thoughts will come to my mind. So I will tell for myself, it's not a time. Okay, it's not 11, so I will leave it to 11, and then I will really come and do it. And you can try the technique as well and find if it's helpful for you or no. But I heard some people that it really worked for them. It helped them to take out these intrusive thoughts during the day and concentrated. So another technique is a ground technique. We will not go through this technique right now, but you can find it in probably in Google. To Google it, it just helps us to all of our sense that we have. We can just ground ourselves using our senses. And one more technique that is a technique with it, I'm sorry, which is related to imagination. I'm sorry, I just need a drink. And I think it also can be helpful. And I know that the words as imagination, visualization are very common, but I really want to take a couple of moments to show how we can make it in the right way, so it will be really helpful to us. It's not just, okay, let's imagine something. It's trying to do, so you can just probably take a picture of that slide for yourself. And what we are doing, and we can use it, so we can use it during our day activity, and even when we're in a job, because it's may require for us 2 or 3 minutes. But in order to create this safe or rechargeable place, we do need to time for the first time. So for the first time, probably it's better to do it at home when you have a time. But then once you already have this place, you can do it at a work. It will take just 1 or 2 minutes. So once you're at home, please think about one place in your life, and it can be real place from your past experience. And if you don't have something like this, it can be also an imaginary place that you are imagining that you still want to get there, but you are not there. And please think about one place which may feel for you as very rechargeable, and choose and take yourself with the help of your imagination to that place, and then concentrate just on one moment. And once you concentrate on one moment, start to answer questions regarding that moment and at this rechargeable place in your imagination. And these questions may be like, and please answer in the present. It's not, it's really where I am now. And your answer is related to that place in the imaginary place. What I'm doing here. What is the temperature here probably? What is the weather? What I'm wearing now? Okay. Are there people around me? It's all about your imagination. It's your decision. You just trying to answer the questions. And if you don't have an answer for some of them, it's totally fine. So what sounds can I hear at that moment? When I'm at that moment aware of what that I'm imagining? What is my body posture there? What I'm doing? What can I see? What my face expressions there? What is my postures? One more time, what I'm wearing there? Is it cold? Is it warm? Is it so and so on and so on? You're just trying to really to get into the small details. And next time you will need to connect to this imaginary place. It probably during your work time, it will be a little bit easier, but you once more time you can ask your same questions, and probably next time you will pick up the different moment, probably the same moment, it doesn't matter. Okay, so let's move forward. And let's try, so I think it's a good time just to create with your help this Iceland of like rechargeable Iceland. So please let's go to your examples from a chat. I will stop, probably I will stop, yeah, I will stop the sharing.
Okay, so I'm gonna read it, right? You want me to read it?
Yeah, and we have, if I'm taking a look at the time, we have probably 4 minutes for examples from the chat, how people really, yeah.
Perfect. So there were comments like, I use a combination of all of them except the cognitive. What works for me is to listen into my body. Some days is a walk in nature, other days playing with my son, other days reading, meditating. One that always helps though is baking. Is me, I bake.
Yeah, okay.
I try to use a combination of these coping styles, said another person. Another person said social, cognitive, and physical. Another person said cognitive plus physical, but I believe that my cognitive style sometimes brings me more stress at some point.
Yeah, it's very important point. And probably just, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you. If also I would ask you, it's wonderful that you can recognize even what kind of style, coping style you're using, but it's maybe also helpful to other people if you will also bring like a real example, says like Monica said, I'm cooking. And probably it's a physical, probably it's I don't know what is it, doesn't it even doesn't matter what it is, what kind of style. What is matter is just to share all of these real examples. So
Examples.
yeah, so if you can please share a real, like just to add besides the name of the styles also what really you are doing, so it will be very helpful to us and to others. And if somebody says that probably the cognitive is it's not a strong one in order to coping. Yeah, am I remember right?
Yeah, it says that
So
sometimes it gets people like overthinking.
yeah, so it's a good this is a good point, because every style, every coping style also sometimes can be used by us not in a healthy way. And this is the reason we want to have at least at least three different styles. So once I'm recognizing that the cognitive style starting to be for me more stressful rather than rechargeable, I can switch to the body style, or probably I can switch to the imaginary style. And then coming back to the cognitive once I find it starts to be rechargeable for myself one more time. So this is the idea. We just can switch between of them. And this is why I'm asking you to put real examples on a chat, so people just really can use each other's examples, because if I'm good in a cognitive, so I can bring you examples how I'm using my cognition.
There
And
is one
if I
example.
good,
There is one very good example here. It says mostly physical. Everything feels more manageable after a hard workout.
Yeah, wonderful. And this is the good point to us to be aware of what additional impact we have from different activities, because sometimes we can do body activities not as a reason, like without thinking that we do need to deal with stress, but we can be aware that it's also have an additional impact on us. And this is a good point. Yeah, thank you for all of these examples. So I will come back to the presentation.
There is one more here that may help. I also meditate and I like general philosophies such as Bukowski. Don't try. Sometimes it helps to be reminded that there is nothing to do, but everything is already okay.
Wonderful. It's like, yeah, it's I can feel it in my body, like impact. And please, if you have your real examples, share with us. It may help also for others people. And one more additional, I just take a look. Okay, I will take very quickly, I will take 3 minutes. 3 minutes I have probably in order to share with you some additional important tools. And then we will probably have a time for questions, because it's already 10 minutes past 12. So another important tool for us for the successful adaptation probably to be aware of is a flexibility and adjustment. And I really want to ask you and invite you to ask yourself what it is for you to be flexible and to adjust yourself during a stress period of time. Because for some people it may sound something that I don't want to be flexible, like it doesn't sound good every time to be flexible, yeah? But let's take a look how it may relate to the stress. So if we are speaking about the external stress, so most of the time we will not have a control over the stress. So trying to control the external factors that came up to us, it may just add to additional stress to us, and it may make us feel frustrating. So what can we do? Because really what is important during the challenging period of our life, it's still to find some sense of control. I hope you can relate to that, because once we feel that everything is out of control, it really may add to our stress. So we really want to still find what can we control, where can we find the control? And we can find the control actually on how we're reacting to the stress. And we can react by being flexible and to adjust ourselves. And there is a 3 general option. What can we do? So once we're feeling, let's say we facing some challenge, and we may say for ourselves, I feel that I'm still have a lot of buffers, a lot of tools to deal with the challenge. I still have my energy for that. I want to face it. So I will use my buffers and I want to face these challenges. Another day, and it's about to be flexible, or even during this day, but for another task, or just a week after. I may say, no, for now, I want to put the boundaries. I may say, no, it's not right for me right now. But sometimes we will say no, and the reality will still require from us to cope with the challenges. Like we may say no, I will not, but okay, the reality is like you need. So what can we do once we cannot face the challenge because probably we don't have enough resources right now? So what can we do? We can also escape, but we can escape in a healthy way. And what I mean by escaping in a healthy way is exactly by using these small island of disconnecting ourselves from the reality from a short period of times. And it can be done, as I said, by small talks with the peers, by just 1 or 2 minutes listening to music, probably by some as we already practice on a visualization and imagine ourselves in somewhere in a safe place, on a rechargeable place, and it may take us just a couple of minutes, and by that we will recharge a little bit our nervous system in order coming back to the first option and continue to face the challenges if we don't have an option to say no. Yeah, but if we have an option to say no, and we feel that this is the right things to us to do right now, so this is we can probably we should be aware of. So it's kind of just to game, we're just trying to adapt ourselves to the reality and to check when we can say no, when we can escape, and when it's right for us to face a challenge. And all of this actually will be related to our resources and to how we feel right now at the current moment. Okay, just trying to summarize everything that we spoke about, and we have probably 5 minutes for the question. It's not a lot of time, but still. So we spoke about different strategies, and it doesn't matter. You don't need to recognize what strategy you're using, but be aware of different styles, and probably also be aware of an option to switch in between of them. We spoke about flexibility, where we can use say a no to the reality, we can escape in a healthy way, or we can involve in and meet the challenges that are coming up to us. We spoke about sense of control, which is very important to us and may help us to also to calm down ourselves, but it's very important what we're trying to control. And it's always easily to control ourselves. And it's really will be rechargeable for us. And we also spoke at the beginning about the external and internal factors, which mostly internal factors we cannot control. At the same time, external factor we cannot control. At the same time, internal factors, it's really under our control. And the good news that it's a lot of to do with. Okay, so I think this is a time for the questions. I'm just trying, yep. And I just will I will also share with you some, sorry, resources, how you can monitor yourself. So this one table that may help you to recognize if you have enough resources. Do you go through the challenging period in your life? Probably you should be aware of. And this also one table that can help you to monitor yourself where you now. So probably if you're in a yellow and orange, it's a good time to start to use your tools and to start to use all the buffers. And if you're in a red, so it's a really time to stop. We didn't speak a lot about that, but it's something that you should take it very seriously. And some additional probably video about the burnout. We didn't have a lot of we didn't have an opportunity to speak about burnout, but if you want to know the difference between the burnout periods, so you can use this video in order to understand. Okay, so probably we can go to the questions if we have, or some insights or some thoughts.
Julia, thank you so much. It was very interesting, that technique of the feeling and feeling that place. It really helped me. Like I was doing it as you were describing it. And it's very interesting because then your imagination takes you to some nice places, right? So that's one. Maybe one thing that I've learned very recently and I want to share with everyone is I was doing one of these meditations, and then it was not about anything other than breathing, But when you breathe in, you kind of say, I am. And then when you breathe out, you say alive. So it will be like, I am alive. And that in its own, it's been really, really helpful in the I don't know, in the latest months for me. So I just wanted to share it with you guys because here we are sharing what works for each other, right? So
Yeah, sure.
that's something that has helped me. I know people are putting things in the chat. So let us go to, we still have 2 more minutes. So someone says, thank you so much for this time. It was really good to self-reflect about life, career, lifestyles. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Perfect.
Do you have
All
an answer? No, if you don't, so probably if I can relate to Monica that you shared with us, and I will use that example, or if we have some other comments, so we can go to the comments, I don't know.
There are no more comments.
Okay.
Franklin is raising his hand. Go ahead, Franklin. We have 1 more minute.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity, Monica. Julia, good afternoon, and thank you so much for the presentation. Really great
You're welcome.
presentation. I just want to ask you the question. According to the presentation and the different tools we have to deal with stress, and according to your experience, what would be the moment when dealing with stress? What would be the moment when we have to realize that we definitely need medical help, medical support? What is the moment where I have to say, I give up, I am unable to manage this, it's time for me to move forward and ask for help?
So yeah, it's a very important, very good question. Unfortunately, we didn't go to this period of a burnout periods and how it's may feel, and we don't want to get there. But I would say if you trying to use the tools that you have and you recognize that you in the same state of a mind, or you can see how it's impact you, and there is no have impact on you. So this is already some kind of red flag for myself. Okay, I usually I can go from so usually if you recognize that those tools helpful for you, and once you find yourself you're applying those tools by you're still at the same place for, let's say, a week, so probably this is a red flag. Another one, I would say it's if you can definitely if you recognize that something you already starting to, let's say, probably it's a hard word, but I would say self-harm, but self-harm doesn't need to be very, very dangerous. It's also on a small pieces of self-harm. Then we stopping to do things that we enjoy of, that we stopping to probably to speak to the people there, then our reality is starting to be changed, starting to change. And it happened to us for at least, I would say, 1 week. I definitely will put for myself as a red flag, and at least looking for some resources and at least will explore more. But I will share with you all these self-monitoring tables that I think will helpful, may help to you to recognize where you now.
Thank you, Julie and Franklin, for the question. Thank you for everyone that came here. I just want to leave you with this last piece. I know we are 2 minutes past, but I just want to give you this piece. It is not always easy to recognize it when you're going into that. So the importance of this is that we look out for each other, and then that we are aware of our people that are closest to us. If you're working with someone and that someone is all of a sudden becoming grumpy, well, maybe it's not grumpy, it's not that she's a bitch or whatever, it's like maybe something is happening. And then the more that we are aware of that and the more that we can help, and then I come back to the video that we presented at the beginning, how the first people that occupied this land connected everything, and then we were part of each other. So if we are aware of maybe something bad is happening to something, do you want to chat? Maybe they don't, but maybe you're the only person that has made them aware of something that they are not. And I'm telling you this by experience. So anyway, thank you everyone for coming. It was wonderful, Julia. I loved it. Thank you so much for being so kind.
Thank you. Thank you. And
I
I just put here the slides probably with some, like I would say, the crisis resources, but still it's good to know that there exist. It's a distress center, it's a 911, 988, all of these can be helpful as a really crisis resources.
And we'll share the presentation to everyone who attended, and we'll put Julia's contact in there if you want to chat with her even further. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone for being here and to sharing your examples. I will take a look at them now.
Thank you.
Once I
Bye.
have a time.
Thank you.